She did her MD from IPGMER Kolkata. She is presently Associate Professor attached to Ramakrishna Mission Seva Pratishthan and Vivekananda Institute of Medical Science. And areas of interest, pediatric, regional anesthesia and pain management. And she has been closely associated with our professional association, that is Indian Society of Anesthesiology, West Bengal State Branch. With this introduction, I invite Dr. Gupta to proceed for her deliberation.
এটা দিয়ে আমি এটা দিয়ে আচ্ছা আর পরেরটা যখন আর পরেরটা যেটা সেভ হয়েছে পরেরটা A very good afternoon to all distinguished guests and delegates. My heartfelt thanks to Dr. Aurobindo Ray and Dr. Sumanto Dasgupta for giving me this opportunity. My topic today is chronic pain. A few words on acute pain may creep into my talk, but I will not be discussing cancer pain, which will be dealt with later by my esteemed colleague, Dr. Krishna Poddar. Now, what is chronic pain? It is any pain where symptoms are persisting for more than 6 weeks or in some cases to 3 months. This is chronic pain. And what are the different types of chronic pain? The first type is low back pain, which I will be discussing in detail as it is the commonest type. The next type is complex regional pain syndrome or CRPS, which was earlier known as RSD or reflex sympathetic dystrophy. This typically occurs after a trivial injury or an obvious nerve trauma, resulting in a heightened sympathetic outflow. CPRS1 may be due to trauma or iatrogenic like surgery or a badly fitting cast, and CPRS2 or causalgia on top of this has an added direct causal relationship to a particular nerve. The symptoms include an exquisitely painful body part, mainly limb. The pain is burning in nature with hyperesthesia, hyperpathia and allodynia. It is basically neuropathic pain occurs due to an aberration of nerve physiology or anatomy. As an example, alcoholic or diabetic neuropathy, amputations, and partial spinal cord damage. It is commonly described as a piercing or burning pain. Treatment is with tricyclic antidepressants like amitriptyline, nortriptyline, and desipramine, or primarily anticonvulsant. Sorry about that. Or primarily anticonvulsant drugs like gabapentin, pregabalin, carbamazepine and topiramate. Opioids are also helpful, and for intractable pain, dorsal column stimulation may be tried. IV infusions of local anesthetic like 1% lignocaine may be used as a diagnostic test or for treatment along with oral mexiletine. The next type of chronic pain is complex regional pain syndrome, as I have discussed, and this is typically it is burning in nature with hyperesthesia, hyperpathia and allodynia. The pain intensifies over time and spreads proximally. The skin becomes typically cold and has a smooth and glossy appearance, and has reduced hair growth and sweating. The end stage produces disuse, atrophy, and severe osteoporosis. Diagnosis is with sympathetic block with local anesthetics. For management, drugs similar to those used for neuropathic pain can be used, followed by some interventional procedures like stellate ganglion block for CRPS 1 and 2 of upper limbs, peripheral vasospastic disease, atypical fascial pain, etc. Another procedure is lumbar sympathetic block, which is very useful for lower extremity CRPS. IV regional sympathetic block can also be used in tourniquet isolated limbs with reserpine or labetalol added to lignocaine and normal saline. This block has to be followed by very aggressive physical therapy. Now, spinal cord stimulation or dorsal column stimulation can be used to diagnose and treat intractable pain. Another type of chronic pain is post-herpetic neuralgia or PHN, and it's very common in the elderly and immunocompromised patients, especially where antivirals were not used early. It is burning in nature and can be helped with neuropathic pain. Drugs and local anesthetic creams, nerve blocks and epidural steroid injections are also helpful. Now, cancer pain will be discussed later in detail by my colleague Dr. Krishna Poddar. Myofascial pain is another type of chronic pain seen with trauma or repetitive motion injury. It is deep, aching in nature, worsening with activity, hyperirritable sites in muscles and connective tissues called trigger points develop, which can be treated by NSAIDs, muscle relaxants, and physical therapy, as also Botox injections, and most importantly, with trigger point injections with lignocaine 1% or bupivacaine 0.25%. Excuse me. হ্যাঁ আরেকটা স্লাইড চেঞ্জ করব। নাও কামিং টু লো ব্যাক পেন। হ্যাঁ, এটা আরেকটা প্রেজেন্টেশন, না এটা না, আরেকটা প্রেজেন্টেশন আছে। Sorry about this. বুঝেছে? হ্যাঁ, বুঝছেই না। হ্যাঁ, এটা Thank you. Now coming to low back pain, which is the most common source of pain and disability in modern society. The costs related to the disorders that cause spinal pain amount to billions of rupees each year, which is either due to direct costs of medical treatment, including investigations, interventions, or due to indirect costs like loss of working days, loss of production, compensations, etc. Up to 80% of adults experience low back pain in their lifetime. Though fortunately 90% of these problems are self-limiting and resolved within 4 to 6 weeks, the remaining 10% are very difficult to treat and often need multidisciplinary approach for management of these problems. Now, what are the pain generators or structures responsible for low back pain? The muscles, the bones, the joints like facet joints and sacroiliac joints, the nerves, the discs, abdominal viscera where aortic aneurysm or pancreas example. Now, what investigations are necessary for low back pain patients? Other than routine investigations, MRIs, you must do electrodiagnostic tests for nerves like NCV, EMG, and muscle pathology. Diagnostic intervention procedures like median branch block, provocative discography, selective nerve root block, diagnostic sacroiliac joint block is also done. Now, there are certain red flags where these mean that if you get any of these, you must have refer the patient early to an oncologist, a neurosurgeon, emergency medicine expert. Some of these are major trauma, age, old age, very young age, and bladder bowel dysfunctions. Now, the patients with acute and chronic low back pain often suffer from psychological problems, and these should be managed with drugs like TCA, SNRI, SSRI. Analgesics like paracetamol and NSAIDs are useful. Primary anticonvulsants with analgesic properties like gabapentin, pregabalin are also useful for neuropathic pain. Then skeletal muscle relaxants are useful for relieving muscular pain. There are physical methods of management for relief of low back pain, of which heat-cold compression, bed rest, not for very long, 2 to 4 days, traction, bracing, structured exercise program, and procedures like shortwave diathermy, IFT, and TENS may be tried. Intervention pain management are very useful, and we tried before going for advanced procedures like surgery. Trigger point injections and Botox, as I have already mentioned. Caudal and transforaminal epidural steroids can be used. Percutaneous disc decompression, chemonuclear lysis can also be done for contained prolapsed discs. Facet joint block, radiofrequency rhizotomy for facet joint pains, and radiofrequency of sacroiliac joints are useful for sacroiliac joint pain if not relieved. Now, low back pain is the most common musculoskeletal disorder in industrialized society, as I have mentioned. It is experienced by nearly everyone at some point in his or her time. The annual chronic prevalence of chronic low back pain ranges from 15 to 45% with a point prevalence of 30%. The average age-related prevalence of persistent low back pain is 15% in adults and 27% in the elderly, and 28% experience disabling low back pain sometime during their lives. 8% of the entire working population will be disabled in any given year. Most low back pain is short-lived, and most of the patients get well on their own. 73% of patients continue to suffer from low back pain at 3 months with no significant change at 12 months. This is a myth, and this is a fact. This is a picture showing the burden of low back pain. Sleep disturbances, pain, mood disturbances, functional impairment, medication-related events, cost of treatment, impact of earning potential. These are some of the causes of low back pain: facet joint arthropathy, discogenic pain, sacroiliac joint arthropathy, fibromyalgia, myofascial pain, spinal cord stenosis, spondylolithiasis, listhesis, and osteoporotic compression fractures. Other causes may be trauma, infection, arthritis, cancers, referred pain, pelvic disease, abdominal disorders like pancreatitis or renal pathology. Did you know that many work-related injuries of the neck and back can benefit from modern pain management techniques? Intervention pain management is what now is becoming more and more popular. What is it? Pain treatment continuum, this is what we generally do. Instead of recovery, there's a lot of problem. The treatment, this is the treatment of continuum between opiates and operation. This is where place where intervention pain management comes in, and this is what should be done. Epidural steroid injections, this is just a slide showing the procedure. It reduces inflammation, blocks transmission of nociceptive C fiber input and prevents ectopic discharge from axon. It may be interlaminar or transforaminal. It can be cervical, thoracic, lumbar or caudal. Some provide short-term relief, but 50% approximately can provide long-term relief. Selective nerve root blocks are done for diagnostic, as I said, for diagnostic and therapeutic indications. Degenerative disc disease is one of the commonest forms of low back pain. There's stiffness, pain, axial pain, SLR is negative, neurodeficients are not present, no nerve root decompression is found, and there's a non-dermatomal distribution of pain. This is very important. The back pain is more than leg pain. Incidence is about 40%. Annular tear or herniated disc is another form where SLR is positive, neurodeficits are positive, nerve root decompression, rest are similar. This is disc prolapse. This is the distribution. Spinal stenosis, is another form of a very common cause. It affects the older population. There's a history of recurrence of chronicity. There's paresthesia and heaviness in legs with walking. Numbness is again non-dermatomal and patchy. Movement improves with sitting and stooping or flexion. There may be history of spinal surgery, trauma, infection or herniation.
Dr. Gupta, I think we are going behind schedule.
Lumbar, this is percutaneous. This is a picture of percutaneous disc decompression. These are just procedures, pictures of procedures. Facet joint pain can be treated with facet joint injections. Lumbar facet medial branch block is very useful as a diagnostic test. Sacroiliac joint pain again can be treated with diagnostic intra-articular injection followed by therapy. And post-lumbar laminectomy syndrome or failback syndrome is very common. This needs a multidisciplinary approach for treatment, and there are problems associated with these surgeries, and failback is becoming more and more common, for which the intravenous management which is being practiced is percutaneous adhesiolysis, which can be done endoscopically, and spinal cord stimulation, implantable drug infusion pumps, etc. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Gupta. Next, I request our next speaker, Dr.